Yo, what's up everyone? This is Kaizouwar here. So I've been asked the question before if I ever wanted to see a Persona 4 remake, because I really do love Persona 4, and I think a lot of people actually do understand why I like Persona 4 so much, because I've talked about it before on my channel. And so when I was asked about, hey, if Persona 3 got a remake and you liked it, why not remake in Persona 4? And so I want to talk about it in this video just real quick. I don't want to make it super long or anything, but I want to get my thoughts out there about this topic. So, Persona 3 is a confusing set of games. I have to say a set of games because it's not just one game. So we have the original Persona 3, we have Persona 3 Fest, which basically adds on to the original Persona 3 and adds the answer as a epilogue chapter. And then we got Persona 3 Portable, which adds a female character and her whole new route, and it's portable, so you can play it on the PSP and stuff like that. So, Persona 3 is a confusing little game because there's a lot of different ways. There's like 3 different ways you can play it. And, well, I mean, now with Reload, it's 4 ways, but nobody ever wants to play the original Persona 3 ever again because you have Fest. So, you still have 3 ways to play it. So, you have Fest, Portable, and then you have Reload. And when people were happy about Reload, a lot of people, some people were confused, like, why does Reload exist? Why not you can't just, you know, port the original Fest over? And I understand why they would want to make a remake. They want to change some things that people didn't like about the original 3, like Tartarus was a huge contention, reversing Arcana, stuff like that, the fatigue system. They want to just change that kind of stuff, right? Be able to control your party members. So I can understand why people, like people at Atlas, would want to be able to remake Persona 3 to try to make it closer to inline to their more current games like Persona 5. So I like Reload enough. I do think Reload's alright. There's some things I don't like about it, which I'll talk about in this video, but I think Reload's a pretty okay remake as far as things concerned. Now, with Persona 4, it only has like one updated version, and that's like Golden, right? So there's only 2 Persona 4s out right now if you want to talk about like the original Persona 4 experience. And really, Golden is just an expansion on 4, just like how Fest was to 3, but Fest is like less of an expansion of 3 in a sense of like changing major gameplay things and adding a ton of stuff. Like Golden, I feel, feels more substantial to 4 than Fest does the OG 3, right? And with Portable to Fest, Portable had to strip away a lot of stuff just to compromise itself on the PSP, while Persona 3 Fest is basically just the original Persona 3 but better, right? And I personally don't think Persona 4 needs a remake. I really don't. And I have a lot of topics on to why, but I want to keep it boiled down to just a few things just to make this video a lot smoother to go into. One thing I do like about Persona 3 Reload is the smoother gameplay, because a lot of people had complaints about Tartarus in the original Persona 3, and then there was the whole fatigue system that took place, and the fact that you couldn't control your party members. Like, Persona 3 had a lot stacked against it in regards to gameplay. I still like playing the OG Persona 3, but it does frustrate me with some of the in-game mechanics. Now, fatigue does go away after a while, so you never have to worry about it ever again for the rest of the game, but not being able to control your party members is a cardinal sin that people will still bring up every time Fest is talked about in a conversation. So I do like the fact that Reload actually lets you, you know, play with your other party members. I think that's a good thing. And, you know, a lot of people do say Reload is broken. You can break the game pretty easy. The game has no challenge. But I feel like as long as the game is fun and keeps your attention, I feel like there's nothing wrong with that. You know, I don't think a game has to be hard just to keep your attention. I don't think it being too easy ruins that either. Because with Persona, you're meeting a lot of new, you know, you're getting a lot of new personas. You're seeing a lot of new enemies. You're starting to learn a lot of new tactics. You know, you got boss battles and stuff like that. And you're not just in the dungeon. Most of the game, you're not in Tartarus all the time. You're out doing your social sim stuff. So I feel like with Persona 3 Reload, it gives you a perfect balance, like every other Persona game does. That gives you a perfect balance between, like, you know, the school life stuff and the, you know, the dungeon crawling you're out to do when you're not doing the school stuff. So I feel like Reload wins on the gameplay front. And another thing I like about Reload is the voice cast. Now, when I heard that they were replacing all the voice cast members, I was a little bit hesitant on that. But when I heard how everyone sounded, I think everyone sounds really good. I really do think, I don't really want to rate anyone over the other. I personally do like the OG cast more, mostly because I'm more used to them. But I do like the voice actors that they have now as well, because, you know, characters like Mitsuru sounds exactly the same as she did in the OG game, despite the fact that there's different voice actors. You know, I really do like how Junpei's new voice, which is not my favorite, but I do like Zeno Robinson's work as Junpei. Yukari, I kind of miss her sassiness. Michelle Ruff did a much better Yukari in my opinion. but her new voice actress does a good job as well. I think the fact that every social link has a voice, like a voice actor, and like all the social links are voice acted, I think that's a really cool idea that I hope they translate well into like Persona 6 or, God forbid, a Persona 4 remake. I feel like that should be a standard now. Every social link should be voice acted, because that's a lot of like work you gotta put into, because there's a lot of people with social links, and that's a lot of like voice lines you have to record for those social links. I think that's super cool that they actually went through the whole trouble of like voicing every damn social link. I think that's really, really awesome. But now we get into the things I don't like about Persona 3 Reload. So Persona 3 Reload, compared to the OG Persona 3, or I guess Fest, I don't know why I keep saying OG Persona 3, like it's people don't refer to it as Fest, but I think what bugs me about Reload is how the game's atmosphere is handled. Like, Persona 3 just felt heavy. That game had some sick ass like imagery, and like it just felt like this whole darkness covering above you. And considering the game's theme is death, I think that the uneasy feeling you have playing Persona 3 is perfect for it, right? Like, I feel like that's what a lot of people do remember about Persona 3 is its atmosphere, how it gets you in there, how it like makes you feel, how like the anime cutscenes are, like how cool, you know, Tartarus looks on the inside, how cool like the Dark Hour looks, stuff like that, right? With Reload, they started to brighten things up and tone down a lot of the dark imagery they used to have back in Persona 3 Fest. And that kind of just turns me off on the experience, because like that was a big core experience to Persona 3 Fest that's just not there in Reload. Everything's a lot brighter. Even the voice acting is not as like grim, I guess. Not as grim as it used to be, you know, like some of the events, the events are there. They're just like softened up. And even the anime cutscenes take a massive dip in like the atmosphere. Like even the first cutscene you see where like you see Yukari, you know, basically trying to use her invoker, and like it has these harsh cuts in between you and the music and like that. I love that first scene in Persona 3 because it's an immediate attention grabber. It makes you think like, what the hell's going on? Why is it so crazy? Why is it editing like this? It's insane. It's awesome. Reload doesn't have that, and Reload kind of just babyfies everything. It's there in like the entire game, right? The entire game feels like a lighter, softer version of Persona 3, which isn't a bad thing, but like it's not. It just doesn't feel like Persona 3 when you get down to it. It has the same characters, a lot of the same like dialogue and voice lines and stuff like that, but it starts feeling less and less like Persona 3 and more like a game with a Persona 3 skin on it sometimes. And I miss that. Like it's even worse than the answer. I'm not gonna get into the whole answer stuff now, but it's even worse there. And another thing I don't like about Reload is the music. And I've made this incredibly clear many times before on my social media pages and stuff like that. I hate the new remixed music in Persona 3. All of it. Not a single song outside of like the brand new tracks like Color and I, Meaning of Armbands, and It's Going Down. Now, like just strictly the old tracks I don't like. I do not like the fact that they sound the way they do. I'm no music expert, but they sound insanely inferior to their original counterparts. And I'm not saying just because like it's just the way the instruments are used, and like the songs just don't even sound like they originally did. Like it's just like I don't understand what happened, because the composer Atsushi Kitajo is incredibly talented. He's done music for like Strikers. He's done music for Persona 4 Arena, right? He's done Persona 4 Q music, and all his original new tracks and even his remix tracks from the other games sound amazing. So I don't know what happened in Reload's OST, because Reload's OST sounds like rushed. It sounds rushed. It sounds not like experimental, but not consistently experimental. It just, I don't like it. Even Shoji Meguro, who does some old tracks on the soundtrack like he did, they don't sound as good as they originally did in Persona 3, like the OG Persona 3. And funny enough, Kitajo did the brand new tracks incredibly well. Like Color Your Night, Meaning of Armbands, It's Going Down Now. They all sound amazing. They sound like they've been in Persona 3 all along, but the remix tracks that he did for 3 are terrible. I really wish they would have gave. I really wish they would have gave like an option to swap back to the original Mega Road tracks, because I really believe that it kind of hampers the experience that I had with Reload. That's why Reload just isn't like my favorite way to play Persona 3, despite the fact that the gameplay is much better. It's because just, well, gameplay feeling wise. And the only reason I say that is because like everything else about it just doesn't feel like Persona 3. Like the music's different, too different, and worse, and the atmosphere is gone. It just doesn't even feel like Persona 3 at half the time. It just feels like I'm playing like some weird Persona 5 ROM hack of Persona 3. But all that being said, I really, really do enjoy Persona 3 Reload. Even though it doesn't really feel like the original Persona 3 I played, it does feel like a brand new experience, and I really enjoy replaying Persona 3 with a different lens to it, even if it's not what I originally enjoyed about Persona 3, but I do like the game on its own merits. Now, getting that whole Persona 3 Reload review, I guess, out the way, and finally getting to the topic of this actual video, I want to talk about why I wouldn't want a Persona 4 remake. So, I mentioned the music. The music is by far the one of the things I'm worried about the most. I do not want remixed Persona 4 music. Persona 4 music, like Persona 3's, is incredibly iconic. And I legit do not see Atlus's sound team, despite how good they are, despite how talented they are, I don't see them doing a whole remake of Persona 4 soundtrack justice. I just don't. And if they're going to remix all the tracks, at the very least, could you give us an option to swap between the remixed music or remastered music to the original Persona 4 Golden tracks? I would prefer that. That way people can have both instead of just having only the remix soundtrack. That's one thing I hate about Reload, because like Reload doesn't have an option to swap back to the original tracks that were already present in the game, despite the fact that it's a remake of the same damn FES game, right? So like, sort of FES, but you know what I mean. So like, I feel like they should have at least had an option to swap back to it, but personally, I hate it. I hate the fact that like this could be a possibility, that all the Persona 4's tracks could be remixed and weird. And I would be happy for new tracks because I know they're going to slap, but I don't want remixed music. I would have just give us an option. I would prefer an option just to play the game with the original tracks, and I'll be okay with that. Honestly, that would probably be a non-issue if I could just play with the original Persona 4 tracks. But there is something that I won't be able to get back if they were able to change it, and that is the new voice actors. Now, Persona 4 has had a history of changing voice actors, right? Like, changes from the OG Persona 4 to Golden, like Chie, for example, had a different voice actress than she did originally, that she has in Golden. Kanji's voice actor changed from OG to Golden. Tei's voice actors changed from OG to Golden. Margaret Namatame, if you want to include him too. Rise had her voice actress changed from Laura Bailey to Ashley Birch in Persona 4 Dancing All Night, because again, Laura Bailey is too big for these types of games anymore, so she's never coming back in Persona. So she had her voice actress changed to Ashley Birch, and Ashley Birch is a terrible Rise, despite the fact that she's an amazing voice actress. She's not Rise at all. She does not hit as Rise. It's so wrong to hear her talk like Rise. It's just not right. And Naruto has at least 3 different voice actresses. Like, Naruto has 3. They cannot keep a voice actress for Naruto to save anyone's life. And considering they changed damn near the entire cast with the exception of one character, and that being, Tara Platt as Elizabeth, who's remained the same throughout all of her time as Elizabeth in Persona, I don't want no one to be changed. I think Persona 4 Golden's version of voice actors, with the exception of Rise, who's never coming back, I think everyone is set in stone and should be who they are, right? I can't not hear Yu Narukami as anyone else but John Young Bosch. I don't want to hear no one as Yosuke outside of Yuri Lowenthal. As much as I don't really like Aaron Fitzgerald as Chie, despite the fact that I like Aaron Fitzgerald's voice acting, I don't want her to be changed from something else. I don't see anyone else as Chie. Matthew Mercer does a really good Kanji. Sam Riegel does a very good Teddy. All these characters, I don't want them changed. At best, the only change I would personally want is to give Naoto a consistent voice actress, so you don't have to keep changing her. Give her like one of the previous 3 she had, or her most current one, Valerie Aram. And Valerie Aram was also Naoto in the Arena games, and she was Naoto in BlazBlue Cross Tag Battle. So at the very least, just give her that, right? And Rise, I really believe that she should not be. Ashley Burch should be nowhere near Rise. I really do believe that you should get someone like Alexis Tipton, who's essentially Laura Bailey's stand-in for voice acting roles like this. So just get Alexis Tipton to be Rise, and I think you're all set. Like, it's so easy. It's right there. So that's it. I really believe that no one should be changed. Everybody should keep their old voice actors. The only thing you'll really do is just give the social links all new voice acting. And, like, you don't even have to do that because they do have voice actors already. You just have to just give them the voice, just give them the voice, the damn social links, and that's it. You don't have to change the voice actors. I really don't want that. I know they probably will, but I just don't want that. I really do not want a whole new voice acting change. I would hate that more than anything. I feel like outside of the music, I would hate that more than anything because I'm so used to these characters being who they are that, like, I feel like them being anyone else would just be wrong. I don't. Like, I'm not gonna lie. I would probably buy a Persona 4 remake, but it doesn't mean I have to be happy about it. And I will give it a scathing review if they're changing all the voice actors. Now, the only way it would work is if you got voice actors that sound damn near close to who they are, but there's no one who's going to replicate John Yamauchi. You can't get another Yuri Lowenthal. You're not going to get another Chie Ari Fitzgerald. You're not going to get another Matthew Mercer Kanji. You're not going to get another San Rigo Teddy. You're not going to, you know what I mean? You're not going to get another Laura Bailey outside of Alexis Tipton. You're not going to do that. Like, the fact that we live in the year 2020, like beyond the year 2020, I don't even want to know what they're going to do to characters like Naoto and Kanji. Like, I have been very surprised that they kept a lot of things from Persona 3 OG/Fest to Reload, but they did have to change some things to keep up with the times, quote unquote. And I don't even want to know what they're going to do to characters like Kanji and Naoto. I'm not going to get into like a big discussion of it here, but I don't even want to know about it because I think Kanji and Naoto are perfect as they are, and I don't want to know what silly, ridiculous bullshit they're going to do to those characters to try to... I'm not even going to get into it. I'm not even going to get into it. I just don't want to talk about it. I try not to talk about stuff like this in my videos, but there's a lot of other stuff that I could talk about, but I think Reload didn't do too much to annoy me, but I just don't want Persona 4 just to be another... Like, I don't like when people say, oh, they don't like their games being Persona-fied, right? Persona 5 mess with... Because, like, Persona 5 is super big, right? And people kind of treat Reload like... I already mentioned before, but I do say that, like, it does feel like a Persona 5 ROM hack, but in the style of Persona 3. And it kind of does. That's what Reload feels like. I understand why, because Persona 5 is incredibly huge. It has a lot of style, and Alice wants to go back and give that style to its previous games, even if it doesn't warrant it, like Persona 3. But I mean, I feel like it at least fit better with Persona 4 because of how much peppier Persona 4 is as a game at times. But I don't know. Maybe I'm just overreacting about stuff like this. Maybe I'm just overthinking. Maybe it won't be that bad. But I have my reservations. And I don't want to get into a ton of different discussions here and now. I really don't. I try not to. But at the end of the day, I don't really want a Persona 4 remake. I really, really don't. Like, I think I'm okay with not wanting it because Golden is on every single platform. You can play it on PC, PS4/PS5, Xbox, Switch, So compared to Fest and Portable, compared to Fest, because you can play Portable on everything too, but compared to Fest, at least with like Reload, you can play it on current day consoles. You can play it on PC, Xbox, PS4/PS5. I mean, with the exception of Switch. And you can't play Fest on anything else outside of emulating it, or if you have the original PS2 hardware, or if you have a PS3 and you play on it through PS2 classics from the PS3 store. So you know, at least with Reload, it's the most current version that you can play. And I say the same thing with Golden. Golden is on every platform, so you can play it anywhere without having to worry about, you know, having to dig up your Vita, dig up a PS Vita or some shit, or heaven forbid, go all the way back and try to, you know, play the OG Persona 4 on like the original PS2 hardware, or do the same thing where you can do a fest and like replay it on like PS3 through the PS2 classic stuff. Like, you don't have to do that no more. And I think that's okay. I'm perfectly fine without getting a Persona 4 remake. Now, will I buy Persona 4 remake? Yeah. I think there's nothing stopping me from buying Persona 4 remake. I've bought every single Persona 4 related thing and watched every single Persona 4 related thing ever since Persona 4 came out, right? So honestly, it's not going to really change much for me. But I don't know whether I'll like it or not. The game doesn't even exist, so I'm essentially just, you know, complaining and bitching about something that doesn't even exist. But if it did exist, I could already tell there's going to be some issues just from seeing Reload. Now, who knows? Maybe Persona 4 Remake, if it ever does come out, will be the most peak game of peak game. Who knows? It might. It might be like the best remake ever made of anything, but I have reservations, and I don't think I should be alone in that. I feel like other people do too, but that's all I really want to say. You know, tell me what you guys think about it in the comments. I'm done talking. I've talked enough, and this video was more Reload than Persona 4 that I think about it. God,